Hello guys and welcome to another Ramblings of the South Stand video on Leeds TV. It's the morning after today, stayed up till 4:45 last night to watch the Boro game. I was speaking to Joe about it and he was talking about it being a very committed action from me. Jeez, I'm tired today, but was it worth it? Interestingly enough, I think it was, because we were able to see a real different Leeds United. I managed to get some notes down, but we saw a real different Leeds United last night. It was a real gritty side to our performance, something that I definitely think that we'll take with us to, for example, the Millwall game, possibly to the Sheffield Wednesday game that's coming up, and maybe even against Preston, because we saw the other night they were able to really grind performances out as well. Very, very, I wouldn't say organised performance, but Leeds were frustrated last night, I thought. Sorry, I just got myself a cup of tea here. Managed to get Yorkshire tea out here as well, which is good. But yeah, Leeds were very organised, I thought, in a sense of we were able to sort of penetrate slightly, but we weren't able to get through their rear guard, which was frustrating. The team news came out. We didn't have Pablo Hernandez. We replaced him with Harrison on the wing, and I thought naturally that made our play very narrow. And the reason behind that is because you've got two left footers on either wing, so they're a lot more comfortable cutting inside, and I think it becomes quite predictable. And I think you saw the likes of Ryan Shotton and George Friend been able to deal with that quite well. Now they, for me, are the best defensive team I've seen in a long time at Ellen Road, and it's a classic Pulis team. It was minging football from Boro. I mean, I saw a lot of Boro fans saying that they're a great footballing side. I think, we even made a little bit of a look at Boro Fan TV and had a little bit of a look, and fair play to Boro. I think they're a very good side, but I wouldn't say they're a free-flowing football team. You could see that we were trying to play, we were trying to be fluid. Sorry about that noise. Trying to be fluid, but we couldn't really get anything going. That's complete. You've got to say to Boro, you've got to say well played, because they were superb. Their defence was just bang on organised. I mean, those three at the back, I actually pointed out in my pre-match that Dale Fry might have been a weakness. I thought he was superb. I thought he was doing the similar things that Cooper were doing, how he'd get the ball, bring it out from the back, left-footed as well, on that left side of a back three, and I thought he did that really, really well. He was able to sort of control the play and move into the midfield and give an additional body to the likes of Downing, Clayton, and Besic, obviously. And I thought it was an interesting game. I think last season we'd have lost that comfortably. I think they're a very good team. I think Boro are a very good team. And then you look at what Leeds have gone through the past couple of games. We've come up against three promotion teams for me, and possibly even Norwich. Norwich might be up there. I think they will turn it round. So yeah, it's something that we've got to look at as a positive. We're going into the international break without a loss, and it's definitely something to build on. I mean, I saw a stat as well from Opta Stats as well, that Leeds' stats in comparison to when Christiansen were here. It looked at the long ball, the short passes. The short passes were in the hundreds. The long balls were, I think, were bottom. We are the bottom team in the championship for long balls. We are the top team for chances created as well, which is completely different to even when Christiansen here was here and we were on our good run. I think we were 16th in chance creation, and we played a lot of poor teams there. We've played possible 4 promotion candidates, in my opinion. So you've got to take that as a positive. Leeds' run was a nightmare at the start of this season, and we've come through it really well, and we've now got 10 games that we're looking at and thinking that they are possible all winning games, with a couple of draws in there. So very, very good signs for Leeds. So anyway, 4 minutes into the video and I'm going to get onto the analysis. So my first point is the referee. I thought he was absolutely dreadful. I think a lot of the Boro fans and Leeds fans alluded to it on fan cams and Twitter, social media. He was appalling. I thought he didn't get control of the game really well. He was being influenced by either Boro players or Leeds players in his ear. I really didn't feel he had a balance on the game, and I feel it really affected the performance. It was a very stop and start, crappy sort of game where no team was able to really get in the flow, and I think that was because of the officials. There was a couple of offside decisions as well that weren't correct. See them on Sky Sports as well, which were poor. I'd also like to comment on Sky Sports, the Keith Andrews saga, which is going round. A lot of anti-Leeds. I mean, I know we always talk about how much we hate Sky Sports, but the amount of just rubbish he was spouting about Leeds, coming into a tricky period and not being able to get over the next hurdles because we've drawn with Boro. I mean, come on, Keith. I mean, we've had Pablo Hernandez out, who's our number 1 player. this season so far, and we've come up against a very organised, structured, good Middlesbrough team. I don't really know what he was talking about. You need to, and this is where, for me, you've got to get people who are outside the footballing world to be on things like Sky Sports. People like yourselves and people like other fan channels should be able to go on Sky Sports and give opinions. I think that's how they should cater the sports market, especially on TV. I think these ex-footballers who come on, some of them have got very bizarre opinions and maybe a little bit of prejudice against certain clubs, and I really do think that shines through, especially on Sky Sports, and you've seen it with Fox out here in Australia. So that's definitely something that needs to be targeted. I think maybe, this is just going on a bit of a tangent, but maybe like fan TVs can get involved with the Sky Sports and the punditry. I think that would be a really good way of doing it. But I thought the referee was poor, and obviously just going on a tangent there, I thought the Sky TVs were very poor, especially in their analysis last night. But regarding Leeds, I think the decision making of some players last night, I thought Saiz, he had a poor game. I mean, he was man marked pretty much by Clayton, who I thought had a really good game. Howson was bombing around him a little bit as well, but just some of his decision making, some long balls, I think Samu's, he's able to drive Leeds to the final third really, really well, and I think that's what is brilliant about Samu Saiz, but I think he needs a bit of quality around him. Click, Hernandez, I think he needs that around him. Really, I wasn't fully rating him last night. I thought a lot of decisions he was making. I think that's throughout the season as well. I think he's definitely made that step up with work ethic and finesse, 100%, and fitness. But his finishing and his final third product is not as good as we've seen, I don't think. And that moves me on nicely to Alioski. I thought he was. There was one chance where we'd broken a little bit, and it was towards the second half, and Saiz fed him, and he was just a mile offside, and it was just like, come on, let's look across the line. Simple basics of football. Look across the line, see where the defenders are, play on that line. Just simple things like that. And I thought Alioski, it's getting to that point a little bit where he's dipping in his performances, and we saw that last season. I really want him to maintain that, and maybe that's something that Bielsa will correct after the international break. I don't know. And when you're looking at that, he was giving away silly tackles again, was Alioski, and complaining that the referee got booked, giving away stupid fouls. I think there was one on the touchline where he took out Ryan's shot on no need to do it, and he did it. And I think it was just one of those things where he needs to sort of like get that out of his game, and I thought that last season. But yeah, I thought we were a little bit sloppy as well. These are all just like things that I think we should pick up on in the next couple of games, especially if we're going forward away at Millwall. We weren't great in possession. I thought we were a bit sloppy. Cooper, when he was trying to play out, there was a lot of times where it get intercepted. Berardi as well, even though I thought he had a reasonably good game. I thought Ayling was poor by this. So these are the standards that Leeds have set, and I thought we were about here, and I thought maybe that was because Boro forced us into that. Talking about the starting lineup as well, I thought that was bizarre for me. Berardi, you can't really take him out, but I thought with the height that Boro possessed, the long throws, the stupid set pieces that put any team under pressure. They're a big side, and I would have started Pontus in that side. I know it was later on, but when he came on, they had a couple of corners in, and he was first to it, and we've seen that from Pontus all the time. And I feel Berardi kind of struggled a little bit. He struggled with the Sambalonga, he struggled with marking him in the area. He's up against Daniel Ayala, who's just a horrible player to play against, and he's about 6'4". Flint's 6'4". Dale Fry, I think, is about 6'3". I think we needed to match the heights up a little bit, and we'd have looked a lot more comfortable at the back. And I think that's what, maybe that could have been a little bit of a learning curve for Bielsa. And Bielsa we trust, but something like that, it was just obvious that Leeds were really, really struggling. We didn't concede, but every set piece they looked dangerous, very, very dangerous. And I think once again, Bailey Peacock-Farrell had a terrific game, coming, collecting the balls, really, probably the best game I've seen from Bailey Peacock-Farrell this season, when he's been put under a lot of pressure as well. So yeah, I think he could have been in there. Maybe Pontus partnered up with Cooper last night, just matching Boro up a little bit more. But definitely Pablo's creativity was missed. As I said, the play was narrower because you had two left footers on either side. The creativity, the eye for a pass as well, how Pablo was able to flow in and out of, and they marked him as the danger man, did Boro, and he wasn't playing, which was a huge blow for Leeds. So we're hoping he's going to be recovered and well and fit for the Millwall game. So yeah, and also with Pablo's creativity as well, we weren't able to get the likes of Roof, Click, Saiz on the ball because he kind of intertwines the change positions, and it's really beautiful how it's been working these last couple of games, especially against Norwich. I mean, they were just moving in and out, and you could tell that we really missed him last night, and it was a massive blow to Leeds, and you could tell even Bielsa thought that after the game. I thought as well, the patience on the ball. When Leeds get the ball, we are so direct through the middle. I think Pulis alluded to it as well. When Leeds get the ball, they're not a team that knock it sideways. They are a team that goes through the middle, and we attack, and we are pragmatic on the ball and in possession, and we're useful and effective. But sometimes you think to yourself, Leeds, let's just knock it about, keep possession, make them frustrated, make them come out of positions, and then we can exploit. I feel like a lot of it last night was Leeds just sort of rushing possession, and then you get the likes of Shotton, Clayton, Howson, Downing just sort of like picking up the loose passes, and the 50-50s. That's another thing I thought 50-50 wise last night. Normally with the first to every ball, I thought Boro were first to pretty much 80% of balls last night. But it was a different challenge for Leeds, and I thought we really grew into the game yesterday as well. You know, we were trying at the end, and when Bamford came on, I thought maybe as well it'd have been a big call for Bielsa. It really would have been a big call to rest Roof, but it was very interesting how when Bamford came on, I thought he only came on for 5 minutes, but he won 2 balls, a nice little flick on the free kick, and he looked like he was a little bit more matched for the Boro defenders. He knew what they were about. He's played with them for a couple of years now, and he's a 6'2" lad, and the physicality that Boro brings and Pulis brings, you kind of have to match them on it. If you don't match them on it, they're just gonna bully you the whole game, and we experienced that last season, and I feel we kind of experienced it a little bit last night. We did well to deal with it, but I did feel if there was one team that was going to score, it could have been Boro from one of those monumental set plays. So a lot to think about, a real lot to think about, but this video might have seemed a little bit negative, but it's not negative at all. We've got 4 fixtures coming up who were winnable, and we're top of the table, guys. We're top of the table going into the international break. You can't ask for more. We are top for possession in the championship, which I know it's just keeping the ball, but you look at the Man Cities, the Barcelonas, the Wolves, for example, if you're bringing it back down to earth a little bit, when they are the teams that are successful in the long run, they always have been. Short passes were the top in the league, and as I've said, we're bottom for the amount of long passes, which is really impressive. Leeds really trying to play the game, and teams are struggling against us. It wasn't easy for Boro last night. It really wasn't easy for Boro last night, but I thought if we'd have maybe Pontus in there, maybe Bamford coming on a little bit early. I think he should have been on a lot earlier, to be honest. I thought Roof was making the runs, but he was struggling last night. I thought maybe 55th, 60th minute Bamford should have been on, and we could have got more joy in that department, but that's a learning curve, and I'm sure Bielsa will implement that in the next sort of physical game. He even alluded to it after the press conference, after the game, the interview, that he said that it wasn't, we didn't match them in that respect, and we'll need to learn about that. I mean, especially with Millwall coming up. I mean, they've lost George Saville to Boro, which is a massive loss and a gain for us. But that'll be no easy task. It's probably going to be a harder game, in my opinion, than Middlesbrough, because we all know what Millwall bring, and they're a very unique team in the fact that it's kind of an 80s style. You go down there, the Den, and we've all known Leeds' ratchet record down there. So we need to get there and implement this, but we need to implement it in a way where we're physical as well, and we're up for the task. It's not just about ticky-tacky football. So yeah, guys. Really interesting, really gritty performance, but positives. We're going to it. The international break, top of the table, and it's definitely going to be a learning curve for Bielsa and Leeds United. But we did okay. Can we do better? 100%. You saw that in the Norwich, Stoke, and Derby games. But it's a different test for Leeds, that is. And we came up against the Boro side who were littered with quality. Let's make no mistake about it. It's a very good squad, and I think they will finish in the top 2. So we've got a point against them. Will we be in that top 2 by the end of the season? Who knows? It's too early to tell, but we look good. We look good up until the international break. And you look at those 5-6 fixtures we've just had, 14 points out of those. You'd have 100% taken that at the start of the window. So please like, subscribe, and comment your opinions down below, guys, because that's what drives the channel. That's why we make the content we do on Leeds TV, because the comments that you guys analyse the match with as well help us make different content and stuff like that. So it's It's been really great, and the support that you guys are giving is superb to the channel. So I'm Rambers of the South Stand, and it's been a pleasure to speak to you guys. March on together, and let's get that win at Millwall. Come on.